So you're saying I'm not muted?
You're not
What
muted.
I say?
We hear you. Gosh, I wonder where John Doom is. He's the first to comment. We can start now. Okay, good deal. Music off. The big reveal, drum roll. Happy Friday, Wildcards. We are back with another Getting Creative, this time with dramatic tasks. And we are joined by some Super Savage fans, some Savage developers, and some other awesome people. So there we go. The banner's done. We're good. The music's off. So welcome, folks. It's good to see you guys. Welcome, John Doom.
Hello.
Welcome, Ronnie.
Hey.
I dragged them in early because we had a couple of staff cancellations from some unforeseen road incidents. Everything's okay, but and I'm like, hey, we're playing Supers tonight, but can you come early? And we'll talk about some Getting Creative with Dementia. There we go. There's John Doom in the chat and on screen. It's almost like parallel.
All is right with the world now.
There we go. We're good. And then Lovely Tracy's going to guide us through Quick Encounters because she had a major part in bringing them to Suede. So let's start there. So Clint, we've done a couple of we did dramatic tasks. So how are Quick Encounters different than dramatic tasks?
They're quicker.
That's good.
So dramatic tasks are all about, instilling drama, obviously, into a scene, getting into the thing. Quick Encounters are more of a case of the scene is important as far as how the story goes, what the results are and everything like that. But it's not necessarily something that we need to have a long drawn out story about. And it's a case with Quick Encounters because they can be so many things that it opens up more narrative aspects when you're playing Savage Worlds of whatever you're rolling, whatever that result is, you can come up narratively with how that, works. It's at its simplest, it's one roll and determine the results off that roll of what it is. Now, obviously, and we've talked, it's in the book, whatever, there's staged Quick Encounters and things like that, but every player is making a roll and then you're just, determining kind of what happened off that one roll narratively.
Yeah, awesome. So Tracy, so why don't you build on that? So there are kind of the two different types of Quick Encounters. One where it's kind of GM choice on individual rolls or success and failure, but then there's also the where the number of successes matters. So why don't you tell us the difference between those two?
Yeah, I mean, you can run it in a way that says, okay, this Quick Encounter, we're going to have it. We know we're going to do the thing, right? You can do that. You can say, I know that we're going to do the thing that we're trying to do, but we want to see how that sort of shakes out. What happens there? We want to create a narrative of what happened when you did the thing, whether it's you stealing from something or a quick chase that you don't want to go through the whole chase rules for, or even a quick combat, right? You're going to succeed, but let's find out what happens on the way. The other way to do it is to count successes. And unlike dramatic tasks, successes are successes, not tokens. So you only have up to 2 successes per person because there's only one raise that counts, right? But if the general sort of rule is that you count the number of successes. If you get the number of successes equal to the number of players or characters participating in the Quick Encounter, then you've succeeded at it. So you can easily have a Quick Encounter that can fail and you can sort of decide, okay, if you don't get the successes, then you don't succeed at what you're trying to do. Something else happens, or a complication arises, or something like that. And then there's, of course, going further than that, where you can have non-lethal quick encounters versus dangerous quick encounters. And non-lethal are meaning that you're likely to not get hurt during this encounter. Like you're doing a dinner party and you're trying to get information from somebody and blah, 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 and everybody's trying to help in their own little way, but you're probably not going to end up with a wound after that dinner party, right? But if you're breaking into a highly secured facility or whatever, and there's guards with guns there, it might be a dangerous quick encounter, which subjects you to possible fatigue and to wounds if you fail or get a critical failure on your roll.
And then why don't you or Clint, either one, wants to chime in on what's the difference between like a single roll quick encounter and then a staged quick encounter?
Clint?
Staged is more along the lines of single rolls it's a general setting scenario. Like Tracy mentioned, she was talking about it. If you've got a non-lethal encounter that's at a dinner party, and maybe just the whole idea is everybody's looking for some information. They're trying to find information. And this would be one where everybody can roll and you kind of decide what skill you're going to use. A staged encounter has specific elements that need to be passed to move to the next one. In other words, the aspect might be somebody needs to distract the people at the party so someone else can help sneak the person that can break into the safe to break into the safe. And meanwhile, someone else needs to be handling the guards who would be there. And so you might say, we need somebody who's going to do something social, perhaps, performance, persuasion, taunt, intimidation, something to get the people distracted. Then somebody's going to need to make a stealth roll to sneak these other people in. And then, you're looking at some kind of combat, perhaps. And then the final person, thievery. You're looking at some very specific stages that need to be crossed. And kind of like Tracy, it doesn't mean that failure on one of these means the next one automatically fails. It just means that's probably going to be harder, for them to achieve what they want to do. And that is another aspect which we didn't touch on is quick encounters. The GM can set a difficulty level, a penalty, like we say, -1 to -4 of how hard this is. As we talked about, quick encounters don't have to be necessarily a success failure thing. It could be you'll succeed at this, but what's the cost? Like this would be very hard for you to succeed at and come out ahead, but you're probably going to get it. But what's the cost, involved in it? So it could be very hard, but you'd still succeed. Or it could be easier, and you could in fact fail. You could set those. You need as many successes, as you have players to come through at the end. So stage, again, just means there's some certain stages along the way. Everybody's still contributing. And then a regular quick encounter is everybody just decides what they want to do. And sometimes in the midst, you can have a combination. I mean, we talk about it in there of there's no cards dealt for a quick encounter. The players just go in whatever order they want to. And sometimes players might set up stages themselves of saying, hey, I'm going to try to talk up the other player who's the aristocrat a bit to the others. And that's what I'm doing to try to help it along. So then it's like, okay, well, then you're going to roll first, because you're doing that. Talking up their importance, which would, help them out. So it's a little bit, there can be a little bit of crossover, but in general, that's all staged means. Some stages have to be met before the rest of the players go on with their actions.
Yeah, and Zoe's got a good question. I think the answer to this will help you distinguish on when you want to use a quick encounter versus using combat or a quick combat. Even she asks, would you say that some monsters are fully off limits for quick encounters? And John, why don't you describe your answer here for?
Well, yeah, I don't think that there are many times where quick encounters are completely off limits, regardless of the scenario you're encountering, really. So one of the things I recently did was had a group of players, and there was a couple Savage Tales that I wanted to kind of brush against, but not necessarily play through. So I said, okay, so here's a situation that occurred. What did you guys do to resolve this issue? You know, it was a big dragon. What did you do to take that or defeat the dragon? You know, so each player came up with the thing that they did to help out the scenario, and we did it as a dangerous quick encounter. So we could start the session with, okay, it's been about a week, and now roll your healing rolls, see if you have any of those wounds left from that encounter. It worked out really well, and it allowed them to play through the whole thing where I didn't have to spend the 15 minutes of combat I would normally have to in Savage Worlds. So.
Yeah, I think, Zoe, to build on it, I think the use of quick encounters is when you as a game master feel that there's less narrative importance for the specific mechanics of a monster and their edges, hindrances, and their stats and your player stats, and there's more value in what the story around either defeating or losing to that monster is. So in that regard, it doesn't really matter what the stats are. Because you're not making combat rolls here. You're making rolls, or you could say that the fighter's making a fighting roll, but their target number would still be a 4 versus a parry or whatever like that, because it's about succeeding at the task you've chosen, what skill you're using, versus succeeding against the monster. So it wouldn't matter if the monster has 5 wounds versus 3, or the monster's got really big toughness. It's much more about your character could use fighting, but you might say that they wanted to use an agility trick and they were going to go and cut the rope above a cage that was hanging and that would crush the monster or whatever. So it's a narrative tool more than it is a tactical situational tool. So and kind of bringing that in, like in the book we give examples of chases are a great way to do encounters, quick encounters, combat, crises, heists, missions, treks, and in each of those kind of have a listed kind of skill set of things that would be obvious to use. Like, for instance, I think tonight's scenario is like a heist, and the book suggests like hacking or notice or stealth or thievery are things you might initially want to choose as a character to contribute to the heist. But with that, we'll turn it over to Tracy and describe like what is our little scenario tonight, and then we'll pick characters and describe kind of what our character might be using for that. So
yeah, so I'm sort of riffing off of the Act 4 of the Plot Point campaign in Holler, at which point you're kind of visiting a town that's had a mine collapse, right? And there may be people alive under there. The big boys have decided to give up on them because it's not profitable to look at to try to rescue them, and they're probably goners anyway. So there's no point. The people of Marrow, the city of Marrow, or the town of Marrow, where you are, you feel differently, right? And you are here to help. And so you have decided, okay, so what can we do to help? And you've been told that there's a drilling machine that's secured in a requisition yard at one of the big boys' facilities, right? Just outside of town. And so you have decided to come in and steal that drill. Now it's probably on a vehicle of some kind because it's a big, heavy drill. But it is inside a requisition yard, and you have to find a way in. Now, I want to say that quick encounters are there for multiple situations. One is, like Chris says, when it doesn't have as much narrative importance, or you just kind of want to get through and create a story about it so that like kind of what happened without having to go through the specific things of what happened there and go through combat, all that stuff. And combat's great, but sometimes it's not as important in these kinds of situations. What's more important is we have the drill. We want to go drill down to the mine and try to find our people. But it also can be used when the players kind of go off in a direction that the GM didn't plan for and don't have maps or set pieces for. And so I want to steal this thing from this place or whatever, and the GM hasn't planned for that. The GM can say, oh, awesome, let's do a quick encounter and see how this works. I can just sort of mentally set up an image for you so that we know what we're dealing with, and then you can make your rolls, right? And so so that's one way quick encounters can be used. I've used quick encounters for entire sessions, and it's perfectly valid to play Savage Worlds that way if that's what you want to do. It's another tool in the toolbox. I like to mix and match and do all kinds of stuff. I like real combat with set pieces, and I like quick encounters for the things that are, that are fun and not quite as needing to be tactical. But anyway, that's the setup. And so if we're ready, we can go through it. But if we have other questions we want to answer first, we can do that.
Yeah, Eddie, folks, throw your questions in the chat, and we'll get to them as they come up. I think we've caught up on all those. But Ronnie, since you're a guest, you get to go pick first. Which of the Holler archetypes did you want to play?
I'm going with the miner.
Awesome. Okay, so let's throw him up here. So here's our miner archetype, and as long as we got the archetype up on the screen, what are you thinking on how you're going to help on this heist in the requisition yard? What do you think you're going to be rolling?
So I've given the miner the name Henry Buckley. And, Henry's spent a lot of time in the mines, so he knows his way around mining tools and things. But I'm going to try to intimidate any opposition. Just get out of the way. Anybody who stands in Henry Buckley's way, well, they're not there for long.
Nice.
Yeah, well, let me set it up a little bit for us. So we have the requisition yard is built right next to the town cemetery at the town of Merrill, where a fair number of workers have already passed thanks to the mine's working conditions and probably to do with the big boys' decisions. The graves within a broken down fence are peaceful with makeshift gravestones above a few of them and wimpy wooden crosses above most of them. The yard is surrounded on all sides by a fence with a barbed wire at the top, right? It's guarded by only a few men at night, so you're here at night. The rest of the yard's personnel are sleeping in a barracks building adjacent to the yard. 2 guards man the front entrance with a few more who patrol the yard at night with sleepy eyes. Somewhere in the shadows of the yard is the large drilling machine on the back of a dedicated truck. That's what you're after. Best if you can get to it quietly, but men may be trapped down in the mine and they may not have much time. There are a few lights scattered around the perimeter, the crickets chirp, and all is quiet. So what do you want to do? So then continue with our introductions there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Mining things is a technical term for the uninitiated. Okay, so yeah, I want to continue. I imagine he just like steps out of the darkness and he's just this mountain of a man, and he's like, "Y'all don't want to be here tonight." To the few guards that are standing watch. Double ace.
Wow.
Oh, you're rolling already. Wow. Okay. Before you give us the number, we're going to leave people in suspense. They have to tune in for the number for the rest of us get to roll.
Okay.
We'll find out how Clint is going to help out here. So Clint, Moonshiner, Gouger, Curious Youth. What's
Curious Youth.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep. I'm going to be playing Eustace Wilkes. And Eustace is here because his friend Skeeter's daddy works in the mine. And so he's here to help out his friend because Skeeter is his lifelong friend and has told him all sorts of important things and everything, like how Miss Dobb puts that makeup on her face because she's got the sweets for Preacher Jenkins. And they do private prayer meetings and stuff.
Oh, glorious. And so how do you think, what are you going to be rolling for the Curious Youth to assist?
So I think, Eustace's thing is going to be probably his athletics, that he's going to be the one that's going to climb through a hole or up into a window to get in and try to basically open up the doors to let everyone else in, because he's just a little kid that, climbs and scampers all over the place.
Nice. Okay, excellent. So he's our heist guy, the inside man, or inside youth boy. John Doom. Which archetype are you going to be playing?
I think I'm going to go with the Gouger this evening.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thought here, the Gouger, I think the bread and butter for the Gouger's fighting. So I think the Gouger's going to pick a fight. And, you can't stop Roberta Paulson from fighting when Roberta wants to fight.
Nice. Okay, so that's good. So we got people rolling a couple d8s, a couple d6s. This is good. This is good.
Oh, and by the way, this is a not dangerous quick encounter because there's not very many guards right now, right?
Mhm.
So it's unlikely you're going to get hurt because you kind of outmatch what's going on out there. But it is at a -2 because you're at night and there are things that you can't see out there. So the whole encounter is at -2.
Tracy, that brings up a good point. Ronnie's playing the miner, so would his edge that lets him ignore 2 points of light penalties let him ignore the penalties for this?
You know what? Absolutely, Ronnie. You ignore those penalties because you're minor edge.
I was about to ask that, but Clint beat me to it.
Yeah. You get to ignore 2 points of illumination penalties, but you cannot buy your own moonshine because you're a miner. That joke.
Okay.
Well played.
Thanks for the
Well
grammar
played.
joke.
I do have an adventure for Squad called Unaccompanied Minors, and
Chris, did you
okay.
pick it? Did you pick one?
I have not, so I'm gonna go with a bluegrass picker, maybe Johnny Broke, the man in rags. I think he wants to be a distraction. So I think he's going to try to play kind of attract the guards with a little plucking. So he's going to go for performance. I think is how he's going to contribute to this first part. Give a little cover while Percy makes his way over Eustace makes his way over the fence, and just in case Ronnie and John's characters don't have to start swinging, or if they do, maybe we'll get the drop, or whatever. That's kind of I know we're not going tactical, but I think play a little distraction while the other guys try to handle the actual breaking in, entering, and getting the mining equipment out. So
you're picking and grinning to try to distract the guards.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like Ronnie is doing the intimidation tact. So you plan to somehow engage with the guards in that way, right?
Yeah.
And then Percy Ray, I'm sorry, not Percy Ray, but Eustace is going to climb through the fence with athletics and try to sneak in the yard while all this distraction is taking place.
Yeah, Eustace is going to try to climb through the fence or climb through a crack or whatever. He's good at climbing and try to get inside the building to open it up for the others to get in.
Okay.
He's small, somehow.
Okay.
We'll see.
And then Roberta, what were you doing again?
So
you're punching people.
Yeah. So as soon as someone gets distracted away, she's just going to come swinging at him and move on. Yeah.
Okay. And then picking and grinning. So let's start with Landauer doing the performance thing, playing the banjo or whatever you're playing, just trying to maybe entertain some of the troops.
There we go. The 4, simple success.
With your -2?
Yes.
Okay. So we got one success, and so you go up and sort of come out of the darkness playing a little tune, and at first they're just, what the hell are you doing here? And but it doesn't take them long to start to appreciate what you're doing and the music that you're playing, right? And it's been a long night, I'm pretty sleepy, this is all right, and they start to actually talk to you, right? And then maybe Ronnie, what's your character again?
Henry Buckley.
Henry, nice. Maybe Henry comes up and joins Landauer up there with his banjo, and you're starting to talk to the guards. And let's have Eustace make his athletics roll to get in while this distraction is going on.
Okay. Well, Eustace has a 1 with the -2. Not making Jody happy. I didn't crit fail. But Eustace will spend a Benny since he's sitting on 5 of them, being a lucky youth, and has Alon, so he can ignore the -2 penalty, basically. And I've just made my wife extremely happy.
Oh no! Oh, you had to go in.
Fantastic.
Okay, so what happens when
Alright
a crit fail
then.
during a quick encounter? Please.
Yeah.
So there's no like prescribed effect of a critical failure in a dramatic or in a quick encounter, but it's not good. It's not good. So we're gonna put a pin in that. Go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, I would say that Eustace, before we all went to do the thing, Eustace was like, "Hold on," and he gives everybody a cicada. Like, put this in your pocket, and if you need to, put it in the hair of the guards. Because Skeeter told me that a cicada gets in your hair to lay your eggs, and it makes you go loony. All right. So everybody's got cicadas that are just going to get really loud at some point.
Yeah, there you go. So either way, Eustace makes a racket back there. Like it's just pans, like metal, whatever, some stacked stuff that's especially loud and metallic starts falling around Eustace in the back of the requisition yard. This of course alerts the guards to what's going on. Meanwhile, Henry, you go ahead and roll your intimidation, because at this point the guards are starting to like, oh my gosh, we got to figure out what's going on back there.
All right.
This ain't going well, folks.
Well, that was a 1 and a 2, so I'm gonna spend a Benny. Try again.
Better luck than I had, Ronnie.
Ace. So an 8 with no minuses.
With no -2 because you have. Okay, awesome. So that's 2 successes from Henry, and now things are going all to hell. Right, so you've intimidated the front guards on the front gate. Landauer's working on picking and grinning, but at this point it's a moot point. And now Roberta's skills come into focus. So go ahead, Roberta, roll your fighting. -2 because it's dark out there.
I'll do that now because I have Martial Warrior. Do I get that +2 from that edge?
Yes, you get the +2 for your fighting. I'll give it to you. For sure.
All right, there you go.
And that's sort of one of those things. It's a GM call, but some of these edges and things that players have, especially if you're using quick encounters a lot, it's good to let them be useful to people. It's good to let them come into play. They don't come into play necessarily the way they come into play in a tactical situation, but let them have something for it. Is a common thing in quick encounters. Go ahead, John.
All right, I'll do that now. As I'm rolling, Clint, what was that dice tray that you held up?
Look who's gunning for Landauer's job.
Oh, yeah. Look at this nice Norse Foundry dice tray that we've got here. And
Clint, where might someone find that gorgeous Norse Foundry dice tray in Pinnacle Red? Not yet embossed with the suede logo and the Savage World stamp on the back.
Hardly see the wolf logo that's in there. In there.
Oh,
yeah. This is nice. I really love these, and one of the things I really like about this tray is the squared sides, from the way they do it with the magnets, as opposed to kind of the fox ear snap together sides. I mean, it gives you a nice solid tray and a good roll that apparently my wife has jujued with critical failures in it from all her handling of this. But if you were to look at the Kickstarter for the Suede 20th Anniversary Edition, the nice thing about this also is, laying completely flat when you unfold it. So easy for storage.
Yeah, what would that store in?
What's that?
What could you put that in to store it?
Oh. Really got in for
wow, really?
Yeah, I got into her stuff and I got the bag.
That's their orange color. Ours will come in Pinnacle Red on the interior.
Yeah, and I do
overlay skin.
I mean, Jody showed it off before, but I just love the fact that this thing is like it was designed for our books. I mean, straight in, no sliding around, no getting all, whopper jawed or twisted or anything. So that's a good holler term, whopper jawed. Yeah.
So, yes. So that lovely dice tray can be yours for only $20 as an add-on to the 20th anniversary celebration Kickstarter going on now through Thursday. The link is in the chat. I think that was what I just threw up. But we're over 200,000 and almost 2,000 backers. So thank you. That backer number, when we got 3 more backers, we're at like 1997. Good year.
There's one more thing. Harry, we talked about the tray.
Yeah.
We talked about the bag. I want to wish a congratulations to Christian Serrano and Jen Sutcliffe.
True.
For those that didn't catch it in chat, our aces have gone off and tied the knot this past week.
Look at you.
Congratulations.
Benny for you two.
Benny,
Congrats.
yay. Yeah.
And on that note,
Which Christian told me in text was kind of like a quick encounter.
yes,
On their own.
this is all going completely off the rails so far. So Roberta,
Right.
save us. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Roberta is going to do what Roberta does best and see one of the guards who gives an eye at what's going on, hears all the clanging. She does the point and punches him in the jaw with success on this one. So,
Okay, with your -2.
Yep. Well, and then the +2 from the martial warrior, even
Oh,
it out.
+2 martial warrior. Yep, excellent.
So my 4 remains a 4, which is where my hand. Oh, there we are.
Okay, so you guys, so the what it sounds like, Eustace made a racket back there, started running in for the go for broke, and then Roberta starts just fighting all the guards, and it's to the point where it's now a point of pride for them. Like, you've made your own distraction. Who is the one who goes in and takes the truck?
Are we giving the driving to the kid?
Yes.
Fantastic.
100%
So,
yes.
Eustace,
Yeah.
just
Yep.
as a between thing, this is not part of the quick encounter. We finished the quick encounter, but I want you to roll driving just for fun.
Awesome.
Oh, let's just go see that
Eustace,
character sheet.
Eustace
Let's go
is
see
getting
what
up
driving
into
is.
this machine. Yeah, he's got a
Oh, he does
D4.
have D4 in driving. Oh, I was.
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
he's got a
Oh.
big like 2x4
Yes.
block taped to his
D4.
foot. And,
Yep.
That wasn't as poor of a choice as I thought it could have been. Oh.
Ooh. That's a 1 on the wild die,
uh-huh.
but the D4 aced.
Wow. Okay.
And
You better
I
go
lost that die. Got to roll for another one. Hold on.
Did you not use your brand new dice tray that we just told people to prevent this very problem?
I missed it. I crit failed my dice rolling. I'm like, why would a GM even make you roll that? I have a 7.
A 7 on your driving roll.
You know what?
Fantastic.
I have a lawn. So I'm going to re-roll
All right, then.
and spend
Okay.
a
Are
penny.
you tempting
Okay.
fate for another crit fail
I
here?
am, just for my wife. Oh, aced on the wild die
Okay.
with a 5, 11, +2 for Alon, a 13.
Fantastic. Okay.
Eustace
So-
finds a shoebox,
You did drive
leaps
it
into
like
the
you stole it.
accelerator, and I.
So yeah, you've got you hit the accelerator and you're like, your eyes are coming right through the steering wheel of this big old truck, but you see just enough to go through the doors of the barn that it's in and whatever, and off into the dirt road inside the requisition yard. You're going fast and furious through it, passing Roberta, who's punching out guards, and you break through the gate, right?
Okay.
And because you got the big roll in the driving test, you already know, Eustace, and have already figured out that this truck had a kill switch on it. And if you didn't start it just the right way, it would have quit on you only a few, maybe a minute after you'd gotten it driving, right? So you've got it still going, but everybody else is still disengaging from the big boys at this point. So we're going to call this, even though you succeeded, a dangerous quick encounter to get out of here without any other trouble. However, because you got such a great roll in the driving, I'm going to give you everybody a +1 to this roll with no -2. So it's a net +1 to your quick encounter rolls. Now, quick.
So, while folks are rolling, Tracy, why don't you describe what happens in a dangerous quick encounter if we fail?
Yes. So in a dangerous quick encounter, if you succeed, you get fatigue. If you get a raise, there's no effect whatsoever. If you fail, you take a wound, which you can soak as normal, so you can spend a penny and use vigor to soak it. Or if you crit fail, it's a D4 wounds. So it's dangerous quick encounter, right? So, and that's just because, all the guards are alerted, the barracks people are up, it's all going to heck in a handbasket at this point. So quick, Landauer, what do you do?
Inspired by John Doom's punching, I guess Lucy, my banjo, is seeing her day, and I'm going to use her as an improvised weapon to bash the guy in front of me who figured out that I was being a distraction, and then going to run as soon as it hits. Hopefully,
fantastic. So it sounds like role fighting, and of course, everybody in Holler ignores the improvisational weapon penalty.
No, I can't spend a penny on those. No. Lucille did not do me justice. Oh no!
You really crit failed? Fantastic. Okay, roll a D4, Chris.
Oh, is that ace?
No.
Okay, four.
4 wounds is what you're going to take. Do you want to try to soak it?
Yes. Sorry, I'll spend the penny. Let me pull my character back up, but I didn't remember. I didn't think I was going to have to be the character soaking. Oh my god!
I think it's a D6. That's what I think.
Okay, good. Then, okay, I'm spending another penny. Do I have a lawn?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so 1 penny down. Did not soak anything on that roll. It was a 2 and a 3. That's a 2 and a. There we go. There's a 6, 8. Okay, so 2 of the wounds are gone. So I'm still
2. So you have 2 wounds. Are you happy with your 2?
I think the minus is from the wounds on the roll, though, right?
No, you haven't taken the wounds yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep the 2 wounds. I don't think I'm gonna get better than an 8. So.
Okay, fantastic. So, but you're fighting your way with your banjo,
Even
and
with
because
the
you
+1, it
crit
doesn't help,
failed, I'm gonna say your banjo's neck breaks,
It's just,
Oh no!
Oh, but kill
which is
Lucille.
brutal. It's so
Kill
mean.
Lucille.
So-
She's dead.
Okay, quick, Ronnie, what do you do?
Seeing that intimidation's not going to work here, I'm just going to bust heads. I'm going to try to grab 2 guards and bang their heads together as I move on out.
Fantastic. Roll fire.
Were there any minuses?
No.
Okay, I got a 4.
In fact, plus
but-
1.
Oh, okay. That makes it a 5, but I'm going to try for a raise.
Okay.
So
Did you just pull out a holler themed Benny, sir? That's a
why?
thing for you
Yes.
for having the-
Matter of fact, I did. I'm on
You at
point.
home can go buy Holler, an Appalachian Apocalypse, right now on pegging.com.
Oh, now
right.
you're trying to take John Doom's job, Chris.
Fighting for my
I'm
life.
just spending a penny of 5's what it is. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're sticking with your 5?
sticking with the 5.
Awesome. Quick. Eustace, what do you do?
So
You're in the
Eustace
car.
is driving along in the car, and some of the guards are like jumping up on the running boards, and Eustace just looks over at him and reaches aside, pulls out his lucky horseshoe, and just starts punching guys through the side window. The horseshoe, that's what it is. So
Fantastic.
he's
Roll
going to
fire.
use fighting. Okay, that was a 1 on the trait die, but the wild die exploded. That's an 8, 9 with the +1. Oh,
9 with the
yeah,
plus 1.
I think this guy's a little bit surprised. This kid just knocked his teeth out with a
Awesome.
horseshoe.
Quick, Roberta, what do you do?
Well, she's going to look around at the field of people sleeping one off now at her feet and decide it might be a good time to start running as fast as she can. Calling over to Johnny Rags. My name's Roberta Paulson. You're Johnny Rags. There's no time for laying down on the job. Come on up. And so she's going to be running and just trying to convince him to stand up too. That's just a 1 thing. So just the 1.
Yeah.
A 6 and a 5. That's pretty good. And that's a 7 with the +1. So 7 it is.
7 it is. So with Eustace's raise, with his horseshoe antics, you guys have the 4 successes you need
Oh.
to get out of here without any further complication, right? Mind you, there's plenty of complication already thanks to the critical failures. But now we have a story we told, right? Now we know what happened. Now we can say, remember that time we went to the requisition yard and that stuff happened? And we did it all in less than what, 15, 20 minutes. Right?
Even with a big commercial break right in the middle.
Exactly. So that's a possible use of quick encounters. There's endless possible uses of quick encounters, and sometimes you do want to sit there and be all tactical and be in the set piece combat. But sometimes it's fun just to have a quick encounter and get through it and still have a story to tell afterward. And we came out with a couple wounds on the poor bluegrass picker. So it's not like it was nothing, right? So yeah, that's how you do it. And unless Clint has something else to say that I messed up.
No. Actually, the only thing I add is, besides the wounds, we also came out of the encounter short a few bennies. You know, I mean, yeah, we got some role playing, we had some fun in there too, but also there was something that was a little bit of a cost for us to get through this before we head to the big one, you know, the big encounter later. And as we so often see, players will get so invested in one role sometimes that you'll see bennies just fly because I don't want to embarrass myself. You know?
I also wanted to remind everybody also that Henri and Roberta both have fatigue because they only succeeded, right? They didn't get a raise, so they have fatigue. And Bluegrass Picker has 2 wounds, and so you didn't get off scot-free on this. And when you've got the next encounter, you're going to drill through the mind to try to help people out. There's going to be complications. You can always soak, you can always heal those wounds with bumps. The other thing I want to mention is it's bumps and bruises is the fatigue that you get, and there's very specific rules for bumps and bruises. You can eliminate bumps and bruises with healing. If you read in the book the rules, so it's not like it's not like it's forever fatigue, right? And sometimes fatigue can feel like forever and unsoakable and all that stuff. But bumps and bruises is very specific, so it's in the book, and you can get rid of it with the healing stuff.
Yeah, if you've got time for the healing roll, or in the game that John Doom and Ronnie and I are playing tonight, we don't have a healer in our supers group, so
Nope.
we don't get advantages. We roll lots of D4-2 to heal, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, just power stunt the healing power.
Yeah, there you go. What's wrong with you people?
We do. We only have like one guy who even remotely would have he self heals. He's like the Wolverine, the big brute who can self heal, and he's power stunted. But
Now my favorite
His
one.
power stunt is to bleed into their wounds and try to heal them.
Okay. Oh, that's disturbing. Yeah,
it's not hygienic.
Yep.
My favorite one was when Shannon and I talked about this, and he was like, I mean, maybe you're like a Human Torchlight character. You're just going to cauterize the wound. Ouch, man. Oh, it's healing. Work.
He's not bleeding anymore.
Yeah, bleed.
And my character has claws that have poison that you can inject, so I've taken to injecting a little bit of the poison to heal them up with that as a power stunt.
Stab you to health. That works, right?
Yeah,
right?
The difference between a poison and a medicine is the dosage, so it's a power stunt.
So specifically, bumps and bruises. A character may use healing skill to treat and cover the injuries or medicate the patient to relieve pain at any time. Success reveals 1 level of fatigue from bumps and bruises. Raise relieves 2. So, but the healer can only attempt this roll once unless the GM decides to change the circumstances warrants it. So specifically with the kind of fatigue that's bumps and bruises, you can alleviate it. And so it's not forever.
Yeah, and another thing to keep in mind is if you're using something like the first aid kits or the med kits that have a limited number of uses, you're still taking a resource. This encounter is costing the heroes a resource they might need later to do that healing. So there can be a cost out of it besides just the story and the movement, moving that whole arc along without, and doing anything else that, like getting fully I mean, we didn't all crit fail.
But thank
Only
you.
two of
Thank
us.
you both for crit failing.
Oh,
Demonstrates our whole point.
yeah.
Here.
Oh,
You get Jody's going to give me my ice cream tonight.
Aw. So does anybody else have any questions or anything else that we want to talk about?
I think Christian made a great point in the chat that he uses these for con games to great success. It really is a good way of getting more than 3 scenes into kind of a 3 or 4 hour block or 5 hour block, depending on how long your con games are. Like, if you do them by combat, yeah, you can fit 3 combats into your thing. But if you really kind of want to have a little more complete narrative experience, these are a great way to do those things and then to see find the outcomes that don't take very long. And you can even like with a staged quick encounter, you can accomplish a lot of narrative work with a staged quick encounter that would take
That would be I'll tell you something that I mentioned. That is actually something I love about quick encounters is when I'm running con games or any stream game or whatever, you have scenes set out that will happen, but you're also within that time limit that you have to fill, which I am notoriously bad on meeting my deadlines on time limits. But it is extremely easy to just say, hey, let's handle this as a quick encounter so we can get to the final, the big scene or something like that. If you need to, move things along. When I'm prepping a con game, I try to look at, other than maybe first and last scene and maybe some key ones in the middle, how can some of these be resolved as quick encounters if need be, to kind of move things along. It's a great thing to have in your toolbox for games like that.
Yeah, and one more thing before we get to Shane, one more thing I wanted to mention is you can do them in different ways. So you can do what I did in the first one, which is have somebody roll first and then somebody roll next and somebody roll after that, depending on how the setup is and what's going on and what needs to happen first or whatever. Or you can do like I did in the second one or something along those lines, which is just like everybody roll their skill and then tell me what you were doing. And then I will construct a narrative of what happens based on all those rolls together. Right. So either way is perfectly valid and fine.
By the way, I think Shane's question might be referring to, it might be him running his Devil Pigs of Cochise County game.
At in London or Italy or something? I forget where it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
London, Italy, France.
But he only had 30 minutes, right? He only had 30 minutes to present the entire adventure. This was a shell shock to Shane at the time. He didn't realize he only had 30 minutes. And so he said, all right, well, challenge accepted. And he came up with this, quick combat mechanic that basically is what quick encounters is. And it was for Explorer, and he actually wrote it up as a supplement so that it was available to everybody to use. And I was like, wow, what a cool idea. And I was like, why can't we just use any skill for any situation, right? And so I've said this story before, but I just had the nerve to contact Shane directly, and I knew him at the time, and he was working on Suede, and I knew it, and I was just like, I'm just inserting myself into this, but I'm like, what if quick combat can become quick encounters? And I gave him the examples. I was very specific about it, and you can use it for heists, you can use it for chases, you can use it for all this other stuff. And he said, great. And before he even asked me, I just wrote it up as if it was how I would write it up in the book, a final prose and everything. It didn't end up that way in the book. He actually tweaked it and did some additions and stuff. But I was humbled that that I managed to come up with a decent idea, because I rarely do. So the thing is, other people were doing it, right? I know other people were doing it. I was doing it before that. I just called them quick encounters and pitched it to Shane. So that's as far as I know how quick encounters came to be in Suede anyway.
So the flip side of that story is Shane and I are working on Suede, and we get into a meeting. It starts out with, so Tracy had a great idea. It's like, okay. It's like, what if we just That is a great idea. Yeah, yeah. It's like, why? I mean, there's no reason to limit it at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You might say
It was.
you might say it turned your meeting into a quick encounter because it was good and you moved on.
right. And Tracy did such a great job. Shane's going to make a nice little brief appearance here right at the end. Welcome to the show, Mr. Shane.
Oops. Oh
Oh
no.
no!
Yeah, you got it right. It was Italy. I sat down and I was running my adventure, which I had written this brand new adventure, the Devil Pigs of Cochise County, and it was supposed to go. I wrote a 3.5-hour adventure for cons, and Jonathan comes up and tells me these demos are like 30 minutes. I'm like, what? So Quick Combat was born, and that worked really well. And then I came back, and Tracy had this great idea to expand it, and there we go.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Italy.
Yeah.
Actually, in Italy, a quick fun anecdote. The cons that I went to, you don't sign up to play Savage Worlds or Pathfinder or D&D, whatever. You just sign up and say, I want to play games. And then they put you in whatever game you happen to just randomly pick. So it's kind of cool because you get people who've never played your game before. It's kind of awful because if a guy just wants to play a Pathfinder and he gets stuck in your game, it's tough. Fortunately, all mine were awesome. But I'm sure it didn't always work out that way.
I kind of wonder if this explains like the Italian administration and being entirely dysfunctional with the government every year and a half. It's just show up and do something. We don't pick jobs. Just someone show up and we'll go eat and drink.
Comment on another country's politics.
It's a great place. It's a great place.
It is.
So Shane, any final words? We got a 20th anniversary. How about this? 20 years have gone by fast, sir. What is your perspective on kind of the Savage Worlds and entering the third decade and all that good stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to me. I think some people know this, but probably not all, since we have so many new faces these days. But Savage Worlds was going to be the last thing I ever did in the game industry. The D20 boom and bust had come, and I was offered a computer game job in California. So I tried this RPG system based off of our Great Rail Wars game, and certain people in the company got really mad at me for trying it and actually yelled at me for trying it. But I felt it was the game I wanted to make and wanted to play, and we were in just dire straits at the time anyway. And I ran a couple of games with it. They were Weird Wars games, and then this little thing called Game of Thrones that nobody had heard of, actually Song of Ice and Fire at the time. And it just went so well. And I thought, man, I'm going to make this anyway. And, if I sell 10 copies, that's fine. And if it does better, great. And I did, and it sold. And then Evernight came out, and that did pretty well. And then 50 Fathoms came out, and it did incredibly well. And then by the time we got to Necessary Evil, things were just rocking along. And over the years, thanks to people like Clint, Tracy, John Hopler, Zeke Sparks, all these people from the beginning all the way through today, we've kept a through line. And it amazes me that today, the game we're publishing right now is pretty identical to the game we made in 2003. There's a couple of changes like with Melee and stuff like that. But yeah, just phenomenal. And I was a big GURPS player, and I love GURPS. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but it didn't scale so well for supers, and we played a lot of supers. And somewhere in the magic of getting to that D12 plus territory, it goes from human to preternatural in a way that I would love to say it was a conscious decision at the time, but it wasn't. It was something that evolved, and we realized how powerful it was. That plus setting rules and edges really just gave it the secret sauce that took the same core concept of a lot of games at the time and made it something that I think is greater than the sum of its parts. And I'm proud to have done the core work for that. But what's really made it shine through the years is adding all this extra stuff that lets you do chases and quick encounters and interludes. And I get to use those. I'm running 2 Night of the Wendigo campaigns right now, and I get to pull in all that stuff in my games and use those tools. And now, thanks to people like Simon, I get all these amazing accessories so that when I need 10 flaming zombies to put out on the battle map that I have, that is the exact saloon that I need, I have them. I have pawns for all the characters in our game that look pretty much like they want their characters to look. That's just amazing to me. back in the days when we were just cutting out little cardboard figures and doing the best we could with a cardboard screen and the old bicycle playing card that I pulled out of, my trunk of cards, things like that. So to have all these crazy accessories and the amazing settings we have, stuff like Holler, all the way to Rifts and Pathfinder. I mean, it's pretty nice from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Holler. One, because Tracy worked on it, and two, because that's a game near and dear to my heart. But I think that my favorite thing about Savage Worlds is that I can't imagine a game like Holler existing without Savage Worlds. I mean, the fact that it can cover, you already have a built-in fan base, right? There's an amazing audience we built up over the 20 years, even longer if you count the Deadlands years before, right? But the fact that you can have this niche concept game that can be realized in kind of amazing art and all of the goodies that come in that very, oh my God, it weighs at least 20 pounds box. I don't think this would could exist. Who else would take a chance on something like Holler, right? And the fact that it's out there and that you took a chance on Tim, and it's just great.
I don't know, but I mean, you were a big advocate for it, and Tim's a great guy, and it's something I'm very proud of. And one of the things that I love about something like Holler and ETU, all the way to Necessary Evil, the Necessary Evil Cosmic book that is at the printer right now. What a range of stuff you can do, right? Even all the way back to Andy's Low Life, Andy Hopp's Low Life, right? Where you can play an irradiated Twinkie, up to Thanos, right? And Superman. I mean, it's amazing. And, the credit where it's due, that one of the great things that happens under the hood that maybe people don't see as much is how great it all hangs together from one setting to another, right? We don't have to rewrite the system and change the values and stuff, because Clint has done such a great job of being the glue for all that, because I would kind of be all over the place, no doubt about it. But Clint has been a stickler for, this worked here, it didn't work here. Let's make sure we take the best of these two things and go forward with it. And he gets all that. I mean, he's just naturally smart, but he also gets all that because he's interacted with the fans for 20 years and knows the questions they ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'd love to meet this guy.
He's pretty awesome.
So yeah, one final pitch, guys. If you haven't heard, I mean, I'm sure you've heard already, but there is a 20th anniversary Kickstarter going on right now, and if you look at all the stuff in there, I mean, literally everything in that campaign is something that someone at Pinnacle's like, hey, I want this for our games, right? I want the character sheet pad. That's a really great one. The dice bag, the dice tray, and the backpack are great little ways to show off and run games at cons or at your friend's house and bring your books. But I mean, there's so much more. That player's box. Oh, all of these stretch goals. That player's box. It started as a nice little empty box, and it is full now with the character sheet, the quick combat option fold out, a player card stand. Got more. There's a ton of stuff in that player's box, and that accessories box is basically if you missed the Suede Kickstarter from 2017, 2018. We don't make the essentials box anymore. That is out of print, and so the accessories box is where it's at. If you missed that campaign or you want more. Great price, only $25, and I think we've already established how many more, maybe nearly $100 extra of value has already been added to that. So it's a great box, lots of great stuff in there, from the bennies to the cards, everything you need to play. And then, of course, the players' books. We're super happy that the explosion in interest in Savage Worlds over the last year. You guys have sold us out of fourth printing twice. And we don't like to be there, right? Like we like to have a book for sale whenever you want to buy one. And so we appreciate you guys and introducing your friends to Savage Worlds and these $20 player books. It's only a $25 pledge level. Get you all the extra stretch goals with that. It's a great way to pick up those. There's 5 variant covers, and I think hopefully as soon as the beginning of next week, we hope we'll have the art to show you guys for that 5th cover.
I've got a teaser. I just got the art.
Nice.
Can you share a screen? Can we do this? Are we going to do this, or are we just going to say you have it? Are we going to do an update? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to do it really fast.
Okay. Let's do this.
Share screen. Let's make sure I don't share the wrong screen. Window. All right, it's gonna be fast.
Okay. Let's do this.
Oh,
Nice.
I'm pretty sure he saw a
Oh.
dragon. Pretty sure there's a dragon. That was a true quick encounter. Folks.
That was.
So if you
Fair
didn't
enough.
catch that, you can catch us on YouTube. You go to the live channel. You can go find us on demand. JM is in the chat. JM, buddy, glad to see you're alive and kicking. Hopefully we'll get him back on the stream soon. He's taking a little R&R, recovering from a death save, sir. He was definitely on the bleeding out part of the bigger rolls, but did not die. So let's see. I think that's it. Yeah, folks.
I also want to thank John Doom and Ronnie for pinch hitting because Daryl had to leave. Everybody's fine, but it was just a little emergency. But thank you guys for coming in and playing. I really appreciate it.
Thank
It
you
was an
guys for
emergency
joining
a
us.
mile south of my house,
Anytime.
by the way. They were all just here.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's great. Well, folks, thank you for joining us for getting creative with Quick Encounters. Go out and play some Savage Worlds this weekend. And then, of course, check out our Kickstarter before it ends on Thursday. Exclusive pricing and a bunch of great stuff there. And then for everybody, Fantasy Companion is continuing to ship. So if you've got your order already, get out there and play some fantasy. It's a great book. I didn't even have mine yet. So thank you for your patience for the folks that are in the several thousands of orders that we had. And, our warehouse is doing the best they can to get those out and get those to you. But give us a couple more days on those before you ring customer service. But we appreciate it. Oh, and then see, Sci-Fi Companion's out, Fantasy is shipping now, and then all the updates. Tune into our newsletter every Tuesday. Pegging.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get all the updates on what's coming out there. So yes, they've been supers. So, and Christian, we're delaying Christians just because we want to make sure that you're still married when we got there. So it'll arrive now. It'll be our little congratulations on getting hits present. So, anyways, congratulations to everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys early next week for the. We'll do definitely a stream on Thursday for the last hour of the Kickstarter, but I think we'll probably get at least one more stream in before then. So, I appreciate you folks, and good seeing everyone. Go out and play some Savage Worlds.
Thanks all.